Uh, on behalf of my group, first of all, I would like to start with this document that been represented by the community. Document that been represented by the organizer. And our take is simple. We affirm with this recommendation 100%, but our recommendation as a group, this action group, the people that work diligently day and night to bring us here together. So our recommendation to elevate them to be steering committee / electoral committee. So the job that they started, they have to continue because already they have the mechanism and their engine is running. So if they need other members to be added, that will base on their recommendation. Because there is a lot of little talk in our community. And as a matter of fact, we know it very well. There is people who are trying to sabotage, to kill this thing taking place. So therefore, this train is started and it must continue. We have to bring it to life. Also, it will be an embarrassment to us before those donors, people who dedicate their time and money to support us. We have to fail them. But we are doing this one for the sake of our children. So that is why we are here, and this work must continue. So don't want to repeat myself. We give our blessing to this committee. We elevate them to be steering committee, electoral committee, to work in a short time to bring the whole community together so that we can go for election to elect a body that will represent South Sudanese community in greater province of Alberta. And then this ripple effect will go across the country. This is number one. With regard to our discussion, our topic was the crisis in the family. And we highlighted a bunch of bullet points here, and we try to organize them in a logical way whereby it can give better understanding to everybody. The root causes, we start with the cultural shock. And cultural shock, in a simple word, our way of living back where we came from, and the lifestyle or way of living in Western Hemisphere, precisely in Canada, is completely different. And there is so many examples. And it will start with so many things within the family. So when we get here, so many things are kind of reversal, because we came from a community that dominated by men, and everything men being empowered. They have the right to do so many things, including whooping their spouse, whooping their kids, whatever, rebuking them, yelling them, talking to them in a respective way, and all of the above. This is how you show your manhood. But here, things are completely different. It is about equality, about human rights, even the dog at home. You cannot just kick your dog at home. But things are completely different. Number two, with all this cultural shock, there is a language barrier. And language barrier, it creates a huge block. Because few of us, as a matter of fact, when they get here, they can articulate themselves very well in English. But a lot of us, we don't know. Even through the orientation in the embassy and everything you get here, you pick maybe 10 to 30% of the knowledge that been introduced to you. So therefore, the language barrier causes a lot of difficulties. And this is whereby we will not be able to adopt and understand the system here. lack of employment and poverty. Of course, if you don't have the credential, you don't have the language. So how are you going to conduct yourself in the interview, and how are you going to get access to the employment? So that lack of employment, and with all the confusion, it leads to depression. And depression leads to substance abuse, alcohol, drugs, and all of the above. So you have to get something that will stimulate you, will keep you busy, so that you say, hey, I am still here, alive. So this alcohol abuse and substance abuse, it leads to controlling issue. And this controlling issue goes back to our upbringing. And we know very well this controlling issue, very few women, they try to control their husband. By default, where we came from, the husband always in control. And this is something being taught within our own homes, in our family. If I have to think about the image of my dad, to think about as a son among my sister in home, I was being empowered too much. Although I could be a younger son, but also I'm empowered to monitor my sister, to control them, to rebuke them, and also under different circumstances to punish them. But in Canadian home, this is not there. Every single child is empowered. They have the right. You treat them the same way, equally. And this issue of controlling also, it impacts our sisters, our wives, our mothers back home, because the inequality in treatment. For example, I don't know, how much time I have so that I have to time myself, please. Sorry. Okay, so simple example, when you are sent to, when we go to school, boys, they go to school, they come from school, what they do? They play, they are sport, they do their activity. But a girl, when she comes from the school, what she does? She got to go and fetch water from stream or from donkey or wherever it is. She got to fetch firewood. She got to come and cook, prepare food for the family. When she's done with the cooking, she need to wash the dishes and then go back again to fetch water for the whole family, for her mother, her father to take shower, even the brothers, she got to bring water for them. What time she got to do her homework? So she will be delinquishing. In the morning she wake up, she start with the struggle. It is not electronic stove that you go, you push a button, you lit it up. You start again with the firewood to make coffee for the family, or tea for the family, and then she get to school late. When she get to school late, she will be whooped because she's coming to school late. She didn't do her homework last night, so she's delinquishing. And that is with the approval of the parents, approval of the mothers. It is normal in every single home. So this controlling, it is not there. So if I am in my family being empowered to whoop my sisters, to rebuke them, then it is naturally, when I get married, I will feel the entitlement. So I own her, so I can talk to her in this respective way. I can lift my hand to beat her to do so many other things. That's what generates domestic violence in our home, because it is something being instilled in our home from our parents. So that is something we need to work on it to fix it here. Men's going to grocery shopping. That is a funny one. But it is something came in our group that to be presented. There is some issue within the family that when men go to grocery shopping, they will end up maybe, you know, if we do a lot of shopping based on our income from superstore. When you go to superstore, you finish the grocery, there is a liquor store next door. So you might be tempted to, you know, to make your own commission to grab a case of beer or, you know, a bottle of whiskey, even a cheap one. And that affecting the budget of the family. So there is a problem there. We will get into it deep. Family incorporation. Family incorporation. It is shame in my father home for a son to wash a dish or to grab a broom to sweep. Even my own room, my sister, they take care of it, to sweep it for me, okay? Forget about cooking, forget all of the above. So we are coming as kings. We don't do those things back home. But here, we find it challenging. A lot of us, sometimes even the wife, when she makes you a cup of coffee, you will not appreciate her to say thank you for the coffee. You drink the coffee, you leave it on the dining table there, on the kitchen table. Even to wash that single cup, you will not do it. So that leads to incorporation. She's working full time. She will come from the job, and most of the time they work more than us, right? My wife does 12-hour shift, 5 days a week. So if I'm not helping at home to do some cooking or some housekeeping, then how we are going to keep this house healthy? That is a challenge. So the incorporation in the home, that is one of the root cause. Women in workplace. It is unfair for a woman to go and do 12-hour shift or even 10-hour shift, and then to come home to do the cooking, to do the cleaning, to do the housekeeping, to do all of the above, looking after the children. She wants to manage the time, even also taking kids to their activity. That is a little bit overreach. Helping with house chores, we talk about it, and that apply to everybody within the family. It is our collective responsibility. We have to learn. They said when you go to Rome, do the way Romans do. So if Canadian men are washing dishes, they do vacuum, they do lawnmower, they do all of the above, they cook. So what is wrong with us? We claim that we are Canadian. So what is it? It is culture, it is value. You have to adopt the good one. So it is our responsibility. We have to work on it. Family financial management. That is a big thing. And a lot of our family, we don't sit down to talk about budget. What is our income and how we divide it and how we prioritize. We pay rent, we pay bill, we pay school, whatever, and then, oh, there is emergency. My mom is sick. She needs help. Oh, my mother-in-law, she's ill. Then how we prioritize those and how to go about it and where to come with the budget. That extension continue to cause a lot of discrepancy and also a lot of conflict within our family, because if my mother is sick this month, we send money to her. And then next month my sister is sick or my brother got an emergency, she need money. And then we delay my brother-in-law school fee or something that also supposed to be done. Then how come it is done on my side twice and nothing is happening here? So this is a problem. Lack of trust within the family. Lack of trust within the family, it includes so many things. Handling finance, infidelity, and so many things within the family. It is everywhere. It is a problem that universal. So it is not something uniquely within South Sudanese community, but also that is something we need to address it. Family support back home, I instill it within the financial thing. We hope there will be a true stability back home so that we don't have to worry too much about supporting the family home. Roles of men back home versus role of men here in Canada. We know it very well, and I touch it in the beginning there because all those topics, they are overlapping. I don't have to go over it too much. Parents being away from home. So most of the time, For us, men of Calgary here, let us cut it. This spending time at this Tim Horton of 17th Avenue, it is an embarrassment. Let us cut it. Okay? Because it creates a lot of inconvenience even to the business themselves. You cannot buy a glass of coffee and sit there for 8 hours using their Wi-Fi, using the bathroom and all of their stuff. Let us cut it off, please. Okay? And there is so many other things where we waste time, but you know, this 17th Avenue Tim Horton, let us cut it off. Because it impacts so many things. The time that you are away from home, you don't know if your son walk in with a new pair of sneakers that's $300 or $500. Because you are not at home. So how did you know he walked in with a new pair of sneakers? Or your daughter came in with that fancy dress of $500. Where did she get their money? How are you gonna know? Okay? You don't know who is in your home, what the kids are doing. Are they playing video game all day? Are they doing their homework? So that time, we need to utilize it to be in the house. Lack of access to service provider. That problem, because if we are too much engaged with South Sudan politics, and we're spending too much time at the Tim Horton, specifically in Calgary, here, how are you going to have information, access to employment or any other service provider or service within the city? You will not have access to that information. One of the cause root, what's so-called the arranged marriage or forced marriage. The arranged marriage, there is a lot of things to do with it. That goes back to our value, to our way of living. So this arranged marriage, there is no compatibility because age-wise, economical status, education, all of the above. Because when you are looking for a spouse or a companion or a life partner, there should be kind of compatibility that you guys can communicate effectively, can understand each other based on lifestyle, how many kids you want to bring, how to upbring them, what kind of direction, and all of the above. Even to have a conversation, healthy conversation. If your wife literally, or your husband literally, you know, doesn't have adequate information, and you are talking about all this jargon about politics, about science, or whatever, how it is going to be a healthy thing. So this forced marriage, something needed to be done about it. The domestic violence, it is in every home, in every community, but we exceeded a little bit. Because in our culture, it is easy when you feel that you are strong and bold, you can slap somebody. Or you can talk to point finger in somebody's face. You know, there is no politeness. And that thing, it is instilled in us from our childhood, specifically as a man. So as a young man, you are encouraged when you are out there, you have to fight. You have to fight like a bull. When you know you got beaten, you come home, your mom or your dad will beat you again. How come you are a sissy boy? Okay? So you have to be a killer. You have to be somebody that is aggressive. And this aggressiveness, it is part of our culture. But with the modern lifestyle, you will get yourself into a lot of trouble. So those are the causes, some of the causes. Yeah, perfect time for recommendation. So coming to recommendation, we start with the community center. Strongly we need community center, because community center, this is where it will give us a sense of home. Community center where cultural orientation will be provided, even back home and culture here, to contrast those two and to do our amalgamation. What is best and what we need to retain and what we need to learn. Community center will give us access to counseling, access to therapy. Community center will give us access to tutoring class, to learn even our own languages because we want to retain them. This is what identify ourselves and to bring our great culture into this beautiful Canadian mosaic. Like those dances where we are going to teach the kids to dance so that to maintain it, we need this cultural center. Where our kids can have their activity. We have a lot of kids that they play basketball, and you know, we have the height, we have what it will take. So where are they gonna practice? It is very expensive to go to YMCA center to pay membership. So we need this community center. Also, for our kids to have the sense of belonging. They said, birds of the same feather, they flock together. So those kids, they want to see each other, to learn from each other, to get inspiration from their own, okay? We have South Sudanese kids are an NBA player, okay? But how are we going to showcase them? We have South Sudanese kids are doing very well with the national team and all of the above. How are we going to showcase them? How are we going to encourage our youngsters? Because they want to look at their own. When they look at Steve Nash, he's a Canadian, yes, but what is the correlation? What will link our child, South Sudanese Canadian child, with Steve Nash? Not that much. But if we have our own, we have Bol, we have Majak, we have Ladu, okay? Then, if Ladu can do it, why not? I can do it. So that goes into the Canadians to the community center. Also, community center will be a hub for information. We will have poster of all job announcement. It is there. Those who are seeking employment will be helped with their resume. Will be also introduced to technology, like our young man yesterday talked about it, to teach us. We are a generation that came from a typewriter that you push V, T, H, E, and you push the space bar and all of the above. Our typing is still with the computer. We look for the keyboard. You don't read and just you type. We look for the keyboard. Most of us, we do. So our youngster can help us to get ourselves familiar with the technology. We had trouble here yesterday. Prime example with connecting printer with the computer to print. Wi-Fi access wasn't available. Thanks to our youngster came and right away he picked it up. So this is a problem. Community center, we learn from each other. We teach our kids our old trick, our value, and also they teach us. They, introduce us to technology to get ourselves familiar with it. Family violence. Family violence must be condemned and must be stopped. Because we live in a civil society where logic prevails and also there is a rule of the law. And we have seen the result. The result of those domestic violence. A lot of us are in jail. A lot of us are in trouble. And it ruins your life. Because when you have that little thing of domestic violence in your record, it will affect your employment. And I will give a quick example of a friend. We used to live in BC. Something happened, altercation with the wife. He worked as a construction guy. Good guy. He studied construction. He worked in Iraq. He worked in different places. Very good guy. There is a chance of great employment at BC Hospital, whereby there is renovation needed to be done. So they requested record of all the employees, including criminal check. So construction guy, he was being called off, not qualified to work at BC Children's Hospital because he got something in his record. Look at this guy dealing with construction outside, but it hindered him from getting job just to work as a construction at the hospital. So this domestic violence, it is impacting us with a lot of things. Sure. It impacts us with so many things. So domestic violence must be condoned, and also we have to learn self-discipline. Even though if your wife agitates you, slap you, try to have self-control, put your hand behind your back, say, sorry, Mama, I cannot do anything. We need to get involved in children's life, including their sport activity. We have a lot of kids with great potential, great skill, but we as the parent, we are failing them. And they end up on the street. And we can see some of them, even in downtown area, they are homeless, but still you see them, somebody will walk and then he practice shooting his basketball, doing his jump shot, or doing his boxing skill, because he never had a chance to experience it. I will illustrate, I will ask the secretariat just to give me a chance to illustrate a simple image about this involving kids' activity. Our kids, they are great basketball players and they prove themselves, okay? Imagine this great child of yours, tall, 6'7", 6'8". You cannot drop them to their game. And he got a good Canadian friend family that they decide to help this son to his game. Basically, Canadian family, they support their kids. You will see the father, the mother, the grandmother, grandpa, and even the grandkids. Okay, all of them, they are there cheering that kids that is playing. Your son was the MVP at that game, top scorer and everything. After the game, they are coming home. He's in that family van. They are talking about the game. How he's going to talk? He's not going to say anything. He needs to push himself in the corner. Okay? Even to eat, he will not be able to eat freely because he needs to be extra careful. Those chips, crumb, not to fall into that family car. Okay? And the family are cheering their son, and your son was the best. So now what is going to happen? During the game, he needs to make sure to pass the ball to the family, to that family kids that is owing him. They are transporting him, spending the hotel night with him, so that now the one who is going to be score more is that family kid, not the child who's really got the skill. You see, so your child now is feel inferior. How he's going to be bold when he's on that basketball, he can do his thing. He doesn't want to showcase himself too much because jealousy may will pull the other family not to provide him the service. So this is a problem, we need to look into it, and I experienced it myself. Get to work with service provider, that is through network. Cooperation within the family, let us do the chore, let us do if somebody is cooking, the wife, is cutting the meat, help her cut the onion, do the dishes. Cooperation within the family. Open communication. Open communication, it is something that impacting our family a lot in all aspects of life about the communication. We are not great communicators, okay? And I will give a simple example. If I am a guy that is snore, yeah, sure. If I'm the guy that is snore in the night, and it bothered my wife not sleeping well, and if she did not communicate to me, how are we going to solve that problem? So we need to communicate. There is so many aspects to it. Establishing boundary, we need to respect each other boundary, give personal space, and tutoring class goes back into the community center where there is of activity to be done. Yes, I took too much time, but I hope effectively we touch most of the issues. Thank you very much.
So before we move to Do you have anything you want to add to what they said?
Mike.
And 2 minutes, please.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I was just going to talk about the topic here of discussion. For you, the facilitators, this workshop is for issues that affect people in Calgary. Can you give enough time for discussion like when he presented about the family disintegration in Calgary or in Alberta? Because these are the things that we want to know. If you limit the time, that means we will not be able to address the problems. Two, in addition to what my friend there, Kujo said, you forget something. 911, being called by women to their husbands. Don't you think it's the one that led also to the breakdown in the families? Lying to the police? Social workers are sources of division of the family. You need to add this. These are most of the things that affect our families. Right? You call somebody to the police, he did not even slap you and say he slapped me. He raped me. You don't know in your cultures, you South Sudanese. There's no rape. Mara pitaki tama about the nyakam. But these things, and they won't cause that. Mashiach to reach the police, garap the nyakamona, kalas enta to do me bed. Like we just say, when you have a criminal record, kalas you lose them. Mother God doesn't have to raise a saki because they are not able to work because of the problems that have been with them. Okay? Come on. Let's go to the churches or the leaders. When they come to families to solve the problem, they end up breaking the families, they end up even taking the wives. You come to resolve the problem, but don't come and again say, right? So we need to be serious on issues that affect the people. Okay? Again, if you arrange marriage, if you know that you are already married, why you don't refuse this man from your country of South Sudan or from Equatorial? Do you talk about violence? The woman just arrived at the airport and you go to another person's house. Who told her that, who beat her now at the airport? Reason to go in? What factor will in the airport? So this need to be thoroughly analyzed critically so that the communities have some solutions, so that the families are stabilized. Look now, we talked about yesterday. I used to talk without microphone. Sorry. Look, Dr. Nyal yesterday talked about the child. We talk about the children. The children are there, drop out from schools. Do they drop because they like to be dropouts? No, there are issues in the schools. Children, sometimes, our children who are born here, they know English better like any Canadian. Why should they push them to ESL? Did you ask these questions? They shouldn't be pushed to ESL when they are born in Calgary and they go to any care center or children's care school like any other school. And then you go and discriminate these kids and put them in what? In a what? In a care school. I mean in the ESL. Which they don't deserve. Our children are encouraged to be cookers, chefs. They don't encourage them to do the best subject they are good in them. These are a lot of things that make these children to drop out from schools. And when they come from there, what do they end up? Some people grab them on the streets. They start abusing substances. So I don't want to waste a lot of time, but you know, moderators give enough time for this topic to be discussed. Then just we waste time there.
Thank you so much for your contribution.
All, my name is Pascal Joak. I am one of the Action Committee team, and my response is to Brother. To Brother Charles regarding the calling 911. First of all, just let not generalize all women, because when you talk, you should have said some of the women, they do this, but not all women. So from what you say, you generalize all women. Yeah, be specific. So, and in addition to that, there is some men within our community that are very violent. I'm sorry to say that. There is a lot of women, they are a victim of violence within the family. They don't report it. You know, why they don't report it, I will bring it back to our brother Moses. Because that's how we were raised. That's how we grew up. Even if you see the violence, some of them you accept. You accept it as a part of the culture, you know, or of the tradition. There is some women I know here, like few of them that they have courage to call 911, you know, but most of them they will just keep it. And if worries come to worries, that's why there is a lot of divorce and separation in our community here, especially in Calgary, you know. And there is some women, yes, they call for 911 for their own reason. So when we speak about the general population, let's not take one side. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And the cameraman also here, he has something to say. Yeah, the mic is down.
You?
2 minutes.
Then we have to give a lady.
Thank you. Thank you so much. First, I would like to shake a hand with this gentleman here. Well done. Well done. And I want to say thank you for all of you here. Well done. Well done. We're getting there. We are getting there. I think, I don't know your name by the way. Moses. Moses. My name is Andrea. Moses, I think, he concluded our project, our program.
And it's group 1, by the way.
And it's a group 1.
Yeah.
This is the main why we are here. He said it all. And I want to go back to my brother Gareth. We touched this, all he said yesterday. And I want those group 1, group 2, group 3 and 4 and 5, if all of you could focus on a community center, that would lead us to success. Community center will solve our problem. Whereas everyone, as myself, the one thing I'm good at is a math. You can give me any number that I can calculate without using calculation. And I've found that my kids have issue with that. And so do your kids as well. And in order to let our kids succeed is where we can meet in the community center. I don't think I can go in each one of you in your house and knock the door and say, hey, can I help your kids? But if we have a community center, those who have opportunity to come and volunteer with a subject that they are good at it, we can get over it. For that reason, I would say thank you so much. You nailed it.
Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Let's give group 1 a big hand of
My name is Gaetano Dumo, and I'm very happy to present this wonderful group, Group 2. Myself and my colleague, Brother Daniel Met, So we thought it's not, because our topic is a huge topic, and we thought we need 2 people actually to come and give some highlights to go into details. So without further ado, our topic was to talk about the pre and post migration trauma, its effects on mental health. And the item that we discussed about is to discuss the causes of community isolation and disconnection from the mainstream Canadian society. So I'm going to give the mic to my brother Daniel here to carry on with the items that we discussed.
Thank you very much. I would like to say thanks to organizers who make this conference possible. And also I would like to extend my gratitude to the President of South Sudan Community, Amos, to make this conference grateful. I will not go further. I will just start our group. We come and discuss a lot of items on our group. We came up with language barriers. We know when we migrated to Canada, a majority of us have a credential. They have a degrees, a master's degrees back home. When they go to Canada, maybe they have no chance to go to university. They start work to support their families. And then when they applied their credential that they have in Africa, and then the Canadian institution say, no, this is not recognized credential or degrees. And then the person feels unhelpless, and then he decides to go to work in factories. And then from there, he will have a feeling of guilty that he has a degree, a 4 years degree, and he did not get opportunity to get a job, to work. This is a factor that affects our people who migrated from their country to Canada or to other part of the world. This is another factor of language barriers. Cultural barrier. We have a cultural barrier. It's tied to a cultural shock. When you migrated from your home country to another country, you feel you have homesick. You feel fatigue because you left all your relatives, your friends, your childhood friends. You left them at home. Means that you have a cultural shock. You don't have integration with the people, even though you feel more isolated. Because even though you have no interaction or networking with other communities. Because this cultural shock is tied together with a language barrier. Because when you have a language barrier, you cannot able to communicate. You are isolated yourself from the main society. For example, if there's an activity going on in the city of Calgary, you could not be able to integrate. Because you feel you don't have a language that you can communicate your message or your feeling. And this is a part of the cultural shock that we have when we migrated to Canada. This is the topic that we talk about. The family matters, the family issue. We have a lot of family violence, family domestic, in the community. As I work with the youth, as a youth counselor, I interview a lot of youth in Calgary. When I work with Woodhome, I work with Embarrass, as a youth counselor. And there's a lot of things going on in among us here. So maybe family, they have financial issues, and they resort to domestic violence. And how we can handle this domestic violence? We handle this when we are organizing community. We have a good leaders. If there's a problem happen in the community or in the family, the leaders can go and knock the door and help this family. If the child welfare involved in that house, how can they will do it? They will call the community leader to work with them and help that family not to take their children away from the house to foster home or to foster care. And that's the issue that we are going to address if we are organized ourselves as the South Sudanese under one leadership. As we have a president of South Sudan community is with us here in Calgary, is helping us to bring us all together to this conference. And these are the issues that we need to address. Also, another factor is working long hours. Maybe mom work in the afternoon, or maybe father work in the afternoon, because maybe they don't have an education. That maybe you work in the morning and you come home at 4:30, and then maybe your wife went to work at 3:30 and then come back at night. You don't know what to do. The kid after you went to work. You get kid already sleep. Maybe they did not done their homework. So what can you do with this? Because of what? Because of cultural or language barriers. Because if you have a degree in your home country and you apply and Canadian institution acknowledge your degree, you get a job, you work in the morning, you come home, and the kid went to school in the morning, they come home, and then from there you see at them if they have done their homework. But if they don't have a chance to do their homework, and then you come and get them already sleep, you cannot wake the kid up at 12 midnight, at 12 a.m. And then working hour is one of the factors contributing to our kid to rebel. At the end of the day, when the kid turn 17 to 16, they start to rebel. They start to distance themselves. They will not associate with you. They see you like you're not like a parent to them. These are the big impacts in our community. And if you both of you have education, and then you went to work in the morning and come home at 4:30, and then therefore you have to work with the kid. You take the kid to an activity. This can be a helpful strategy to raise your kid and they become a teacher for the South Sudanese or to Canadian community. And these are the things that we can work as South Sudanese. I will give mic to my colleague and then she will carry on other part.
Yeah, just to carry on that subject of working many hours. Our group is very fortunate because we had a lot of our sisters who were with us. And their idea is, based on our culture, men used to work a lot, but as we came to Canada, there are women who have taken the roles of men in our society. And these women have been working really hard, twice harder than men. And this is one of the issues that is affecting our South Sudanese communities to integrate with the Canadian society, because these women are working 12-hour shift, 14 hours, some even 16-hour shift. On top of that, they have to come home, take care of the children, cook for them. Some of them, they are actually single mothers, and they are doing great work that we do not recognize. So for somebody who's working 16 to 18 hours, how do you expect a person like that to even have social connection? Not even with the Canadian society in general, even with our own South Sudanese society. So it's very difficult, it's hindering us to integrate in the Canadian society. Now moving forward, number 6 is lack of education. My colleague Daniel spoke about people who came with their degrees. At the same time, South Sudan's communities back home, the numbers of illiterate is very high. So we do have parents who came here, they have no educational background whatsoever. And that in itself is affecting them to integrate to the Canadian society. They sacrifice their own education, they don't even have time to go to schools or learn ESL or lane classes because they have to take care of the kids. If they go to education, to get some education, who's going to take care of the family? So these are one of the issues that is affecting us to integrate into the Canadian society. Moving forward, our topic also talks about mental health. And kudos to our brother Neil. Yesterday he talked a lot about the mental health issues. So I'm not going to talk into details because he already touched base, but I'm going to highlight the PTSD that's affecting our South Sudanese community due to the war that happened in South Sudan. And the war in South Sudan has been more than 50 years. So there are some of us here who have not learned what peace is. We were born at war, we grew at war, and sadly there are people who actually died at war without not knowing what peace is. So these wars itself has affected most of us South Sudanese. We can be here today, but the PTSD is still affecting us. As Brother Nyal mentioned yesterday, sometimes we can bounce back, but it can rebound again a year or so. So this is one of the biggest things. The other thing, come to mental health, is depression. This is a word that most of us are not familiar with. And as a community, we are always in denial when people talk about mental health. We just push it aside. Nobody wants to talk about it. In simple terms, what is depression if I ask anybody here? Most of us will fail, they don't know what depression is. But a period of unhappiness for more than 24 hours is a clinical sign of depression. If you sit unhappy more than 24 hours, guess what? You are depressed and you need help. So this is affecting us, mostly South Sudanese. We do have issues with depression and we are not seeking help. The other type of depression, which is specific to a specific category, is our women. It's called postpartum depression. The issues of postpartum depression is affecting a lot of us because culturally back home, when a woman gives birth, they have support. They have a grandma who comes even, give a bath to the child. There are people cooking. So women there were treated like queens when they give birth. Now, coming to this side of the world, there are women who had kids by C-section, and guess what? The next day, very next day, they have to go up and stand and cook for themselves. They have to take care of their children. So the rate of postpartum depression in immigrant women, and this is something which is not only to South Sudanese specifically, it's for all immigrant women, the rate of postpartum depression is to the roof. And again, guess what? We are not seeking help. We are not talking about it because lack of education. Some women even they don't understand that what postpartum depression is, and they deny it. These are the factors when it comes to health or mental health is affecting our integration into the Canadian society. And there is also issues of discrimination, which we touch base. Moses talked about it a little bit. And discrimination is affecting all of us, all boundaries, including our children, even in schools. They are not being encouraged to go further or do more to better themselves, to be a part of this wonderful Canada that we built. Canada is a land of immigrants. But yet, our kids who are even born here, they are still facing this discrimination. And there is racism. This go hand in hand. So for the Canadian public, they have to understand that immigrants to Canada, they suffer a lot of discrimination, including racism. And this is also affecting them mentally to be integrated in the Canadian society. Okay, I'm going to give this part to my brother Daniel to carry on. All right, so we came with some recommendation, and that recommendation is to this wonderful team here who have taken the back wagon to steer the Sudanese community. I've been here in Canada for almost 20 years, and I've not attended one conference that brought South Sudanese. And kudos to you guys. Kudos to you. And we need to please support them, support our leaders, because these people are volunteers, and they are helping us. So our team, our group recommended that these leaders, instead of working volunteers, we should design or find a way for them to get paid to be able to do what they are doing right now. So we felt that it was very important to recognize our leaders for their hard work and to commend them so that they can get paid for whatever they're doing for the South Sudanese community. And the other thing that we came for as a strategy for our leaders is unity among our leaders. We all know, especially for those of you who are here in Calgary, there is fragmentation among our South Sudanese sub-communities. We don't get along. And we all know why. Because issues happening back home is also affecting us here. So the message from our group is, let's please focus. We are now in Canada. And almost every single person sitting in this room, you are a Canadian citizen. Let's focus on our issues here. let's try to unite. And who will unite us? Is through our leaders. So we urge all the leaders here and all the sub-community leaders who are present here, please and please leave these differences behind. Try to get back to your senses and get us on one boat, because the journey is still ahead. Speaking of the unity of course will lead us to better relationships with our communities, because we need that. And we also thought about better communication. Brother Moses earlier mentioned about the use of technology that was affecting us yesterday. And in that topic, we have some of our young talents from our group who brought a lot of ideas that if you look around in this hall, it's mostly adults. We don't have the youth. And all of us, you can agree with me, the reason why we are here is for the youth. The challenges that we are facing in our community all attest to the youth. So, if we're talking about the youth or we want betterment for their life in Canada, where are they? Or what are the challenges that's affecting us to bring this youth to events like this? Because this event is not for the elders, it should be for the youth. But unfortunately, we don't see the youth here. So we are having issues to integrate the youth among us, and our recommendation to our leadership team is to find a way to bridge this gap, to bring this youth to our programs. This way we can use their talents in things like technology. This youth can help. And I'm going to give a mic to my brother Daniel to take over about the other structures.
Thank you. Again, we come up with the idea that based on the topic that they gave it to us, the formation of a South Sudan Community Leadership Council in Alberta, comprising of the chairperson Calgary, Red Deer, Edmonton, Lethbridge, and Brooks. So, as said, by alone you can do so little, together we can do so much. As a community, if we act together, we can do so much. We come up with this structure based on the topic that we are given to us. So we have 6 cities. 6 cities, Calgary, Edmonton, Red Deer, Brook and Lethbridge, and Medicine Hat. And we believe all those cities, they have their own president. For example, in Calgary, we have our own president. Amos Tori is the president of South Sudan Community in Calgary. And when we come to our recommendation as Group 2, we say each city will work independently. Calgary will work as Calgary. South Sudan president in Calgary will work as a president of Calgary, as well as in Edmonton, as well as in Red Deer, as well as in Brook, in Lethbridge, and Medicine Hat. They will work independently as a South Sudan community differently. And then we come, after all these 6 cities, they will come and form a council. Maybe these leaders of 6 cities, they will sit together and they will nominate one person to elevate to be over all of them, among 6 of them. They will nominate that person to be a leader among 6 of them to oversee the situation. And then therefore, that council of leadership, they will comprise with a chairperson who lead that council, and then they will put the secretariat under it. That will work together, and they will bring us as South Sudanese in Alberta level. That will unite us in Alberta level. That's what we come up with. And then after that, if they form the Council of Leadership of Alberta, and they have a secretary, and that council out here will be will fade. They will get paid. Because they will work to make sure that the Alberta leadership, South Sudanese Alberta leadership is working smoothly, and that group of the committee, they will get paid by the donors. And then from that, they will encourage all East cities to work hard to unite South Sudanese as one community. And then from there, we'll have a strong voice as South Sudanese. Because if there's a conflict happen, then the president of Calgary will have the family matters. And that's the recommendation that we come up with as in Group 2.
Just going forward, we're trying to fast track things here. Let's talk about the Council of Elders. Now, I mentioned earlier, the youth were left out. So there were some recommendations from our group to the Leadership Council as well, or the leaders, that there seems to be a power struggle between the youth and the elders. So the recommendation is for the leaders to try to bridge the gap between the youth and the elders. We all understand there is some cultural gaps between our kids who are born here or who came here young and they are, they're all grown up here, plus those folks who come here were grown up already. So we need to find a way to bridge these gaps. This way at least we are all the time connected to our children. There is also a feeling and sentiments from parents. It seems like the youth were blaming the parents and the parents also blaming the youth. But we came to an understanding that this is our problem. We as parents, we've messed up. We should accept that. And the children too, our children have messed up. Some of them, they don't respect the parents, they don't listen to them anymore. And they threaten them to call the police if you do A, B, and C. So we need to find a way to communicate with our youth and to come up with a better system for that. And the recommendation is to have a mutual dialogue which is respectful between the youth and the parents. Also, we talk about women leadership. Most of these sub-communities, if you see the leaders of most of the sub-communities, you see 95% of them are men. We don't see our women there. And this is why we are failing. As a community, if we don't involve women, we are a failed community. So for us South Sudanese to succeed in Canada, we need to encourage our women into leadership positions. There is a famous saying, the mara best. We have to stop that attitude. Stop this attitude. And also, before I go forward, there is something that came important from the youth. The youth feel, because of the leadership, because of the power struggle of the leaders, they feel that they want to form their own youth council. And in that council, they are given a space to actually articulate their problems. So we recommended that we should have in Alberta, every city should have a youth council structure. This way we are teaching these youngsters as well to learn leadership. Of course, they're not going to do it on their own. There should be a council of advisors there to guide them. But they feel that they need that space because once they are among themselves, they can actually articulate their issues better than when they are with adults. So let us think about empowering our youth to have their own youth. Last but not the least, I think the MC is going to be happy with us. So is to involve, as we know, and the other thing, is to, we all agree that this hall is not full. If you invite people from Calgary alone, this hall will not take us. So there is a lot of South Sudanese folks who are out there. Some of them may not agree with what's happening here. All of us who have attended this workshop, please, we are going to be ambassadors of change. And we have to involve those people who are against us. Of course, there are people who will be against everything. But how do we change their mindset? If they see us that we're doing something good, something productive, trust me, they will come. So let each and every one of us be an ambassador to this conference and to the success of our healing and reconciliation. Finally, I don't want to go further, but I want to give 2 minutes to one of our younger brother. He's not a youth anymore, but he has more ideas at least to add on what I've been talking about. So Brother Gog, I'm going to give you 2 minutes just to add and conclude for our group. Please and thank you.
Thank you, the donor. Thank you, all the leaders in Calgary, in Alberta, in Brooks, in Lethbridge, in Edmonton, and all over Alberta. This convention is very important for all of us, whether you are elder or whether you're youth. The true topic that has been discussed today, so far, the two of them, family violence or family foundation, is very important. The second one is the language barrier. It's very important. As I stand among you today, I'm somebody who can help in the area of English and social studies. I know this area very well. It's in my DNA. Just like one of the person today say that it is in their DNA to be a mathematician and science person. I'm one of those. So the message that I want to tell you today from youth that I know that is true and it's truthful is that just please build the South Sudanese Community Center and they will come. They're saying in jail that just build it, they'll come. The same thing, build the South Sudanese Community Center and everybody will come. And make sure there's a basketball court. Because as you speak earlier, we are very tall people. We are known to be the tallest people in the world. And we fit in the sport arena. In that regard, I'm not going to go any further. I like what I see. So thank you. I like what I see. And move forward in a progressive way. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Group number 2, amazing findings. This is why we are here, to come with a really powerful suggestion like this to take us forward, because we have been talking a lot. It's time for action. Now it's lunchtime.
Good afternoon. Group number 3 is going to be very brief. We have been ordered. So group number 3 is on the impact of civil war on social cohesion. What are the impact of civil war on social cohesion? And we identified mass displacement and what comes with mass displacement. What comes with mass displacement is destruction of the social community. People are scattered, schools are destroyed, responsibilities are misplaced. Like for example, people refer to Tim Horton. Men, when we live in our society, men have a responsibility that they do. But if they are uprooted, people get confused and do things that are not beneficial to their families. We also have disunity among the communities. Various communities, like for example, 2013, 10 communities against one another. We also have hatred among the individuals and communities and society in general. We also have distrust. People can't work together anymore. You see the other one as opponent other than a colleague and a community member. Number 2 is how do we address the issues that are brought up by the by the conflict. And how we address it is accept the hurt that is between ourselves and among the entire community. Accept and forgive one another. That is how you can move on from the grudges of the conflict. We also need inclusive conflict resolution structure. If we are going to form a community that address our problem, we need to embark on a program that include each and every member of the community. We have different tribes, we have different subgroups, like for example, LGBTs, South Sudanese probably would say we don't have LGBT, and I don't think that is appropriate. So these are some of the things that we need to put in place in order to address some of the conflict that exists among the community. We also need to communicate more what are the problems that we are facing. I can come up with a solution myself and assume that is also address all the concern that other people experience. So let's communicate more so that we are able to identify some of the problems that we need to address. We also need to also the responsible use of social media. Some of the problems that we're fighting on here are exacerbated by social media. So why do we own the conflict that is taking place in South Sudan and we are not in the power to resolve it? So please stay away from social media, but if you are to participate in social media, use it responsibly. We also discussed the enhancement and improve community structure. Some of the problems that we have in let's say in Canada or North America, some people in Calgary here probably have not lived in different cities. But for somebody like me who live in different cities, we have the same problem across the board. And the reason why we have the same problem is weak leadership that don't focus on the long-term goals of the community. So weak leadership, we need to improve the structures of our communities. How do we structure our community? We also live in a democratic society. So if you are a leader today, doesn't mean you will be the one that solve all the problems of South Sudanese until you die. You also need to consider passing the leadership to the next generation. So let's include all the subgroup, women, LGBTs, youth, and old men. These are part of the conflict resolution that will end the cycle of our nightmares. Awareness on education system. A female member of our committee came up with notice and idea that men spend much of the time at the Tim Horton, wherever that is. So people need to be aware that our kids, when they are in school, they need the guidance of their parents. Do you have time at home to take a look at your child's homework? Do you know how the school system works, so that if there is a problem, how do you address it? You cannot fix your child if you don't know what your child is going through. So please reduce the Tim Horton hours and then spend more time with your kid. So what are the recommendations that we came up with? The theme of the conference is healing and reconciliation. With that in mind, what are the qualities of leadership do we need in order to take us to the next level? We need leadership that is competent, leadership that know exactly what they are looking for, leadership that address the issues to the core, leadership that have realistic goals. We cannot achieve everything that we are facing now at the same time or by the same administration. But it is progressive leadership that is going to get us there. We also need visionary leadership. What is the vision? Where do we want to see ourselves in the next 5 years? If we start building our program with that in mind, then probably we'll be able to accomplish whatever we need to accomplish. We also need leaders that are honest, leaders that focus on the realistic goals. We can't discuss about paying our leaders when we don't even know the sources of our incomes. I think that is very important that we focus on the realistic goals. We also need leaders that are inclusive, whether that is on proportional representation or on demographic representation. We also need leaders that are empathetic, leaders that can also feel the pain of others within themselves. That is the only way we will be able to get to the changes that we need in our community. We need leaders that are patient, leaders that don't ride to judgment, leaders that don't give up easily, leaders that are focused on the goal that they want to achieve. We also need wisdom. All our leaders are not going to be doing what we send them to do, but do we have wisdom to find the solution of the shortcoming that they are experiencing? I have my colleague here, Paulino, will add some of the points that I have not discussed. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Yes, as my colleague said, what we need to act is all these leaders we have said, we need to establish something very strong. First is a recreation center. If we have a recreation center, that will allow us to come together. Our youth will come together. Elders will come together. And when they come together, the leaders who we're going to appoint in that place is the leaders who are going to go out to the companies to look for jobs. We don't need to go to agents. We have to have our own agents. That's why we need these leaders. We have to have our own agents to go to the all these companies and ask them to give us a job. We will say we have 5 manpower, they need a job, and then they need to be hired. And we don't need them to be segregated, like if they go by themselves, oh, this job is no longer, it's already taken. But if we have agents to do that in our community center, then they will be able to get jobs because we are linked to the Calgary government. Okay? And second to that, we need a leader that will go out as well, looking for rent for the people who don't have place to rent. You know, the rest of the children are outside because sometimes they don't have a place to stay. You know? And that's the thing. So if we have somebody, they will go in from the cold, they go to homeless space, they go all these places, and then they will have a place. Okay, that is the leader we want. We don't need a leader who will see, okay, oh, you actually, I don't need you. No. So we need a leader of the people, not a leader of the tribe. Okay? We need a leader of the people, not a leader of the tribe. That is what we want. We need a leader who will not turn his back when he sees, okay, back home, people are poor. Okay, when people go out back home and you found this guy, he's from where? Say, oh no. Pretend that he didn't see. That is, we don't need that leader. When we turn your back, no. Here we don't have conflict. Here we don't have a conflict. The conflict is back home. If you need to fight, go back home. So the people who want here is the people, a Calgarian, or a Canadians. These are the people we need in that home. And that's the leader we're going to elect. to lead us, we're not going to elect any leader. That's why we need a visionary leaders. We need somebody who loves people. Second to that, in that recreation center, we need a woman, a leader. We need a woman in that. We need to empower women. We need to empower them. Okay? We need to empower them. Without a woman, there is no woman. Let's say I have daughters. I and my daughters, if we build a house, the people will go to my daughter's house. They will not come to my house, you know that. If a man builds his house and his daughter there, I don't think people are going to go to his house. They're going to call it, they're not going to call it a home, but they call the daughter house a home. I don't know if you guys understand that. Okay? The woman building her own house there, people will be going and they just call it, okay, this is the house for so-so. Okay? That's a home for so-so. But yours is not a home. People will pass by. Because you don't cook, you don't do anything, you know, but you will go to the woman's house. So that is why we need a woman to be empowered. Okay? That is the thing we need. And second to that, there is the special task force that we're going to need. The special task force is the people that will go out from school to school. See, because our kids, this time, they been put to ESL. Our kids, while they are fluently speaking English, they put them back to ESL. And that is the need each of us, the parents, to go there and look and ask. We need to ask the Calgary Catholic Catholic Church, why Catholic school, why these things happening. We need to ask the public school, why these things happening. Why our kids being taken from during the lessons, they take them, they come here, you have to go to ELM class. And then they teach the kid back there. That thing, I'm telling my fellow Calgarian who are here, we are all migrant anyway, but I have to tell my friend Calgarian and the government itself, this thing has to stop. This thing has to stop. Why? Because we feel we're being segregated. We feel being segregated, which is not okay. So let our kids be taught the way they are teaching the white kid. Okay? That's what we can say. I'm sorry to say that, but this is how to pass my message across. Thank you.
Thank you, group number 3. I'm going to give chance if you want to add or if you have a question. And 2 minutes, please.
I just want to, my name is Noel. I just want to emphasize on this topic. So personally, I think this topic should be the theme of this conference. So the theme of this conference is peace and reconciliation. So the event of 2013, the civil war in South Sudan, need not to be overlooked. So what happened in South Sudan have a big impact as to why we don't have a united, functional South Sudanese community. So in doing that, I assume that all the community, and I mean all South Sudanese community, should come together. All South Sudanese community sit down and reconcile their differences. And how to do that, it would be wise if all the elders would come and give out the word of wisdom, to forgive our past and move forward. When we do that, that should be a number one step. And then, if we all come in agreement, as the brother and sister, in one good spirit, and then from there, we should have a question. What can we do for our living here in Canada? Then we can form a unified community. When we reach that, then we can elect a good leader. After that, then we can put our resource together. Our resource together. Could be money, our knowledge, plus the services we get here in Canada. And then from there, we can build a community center. And when we build a community center, and then we can talk about all these things. We have a people. We don't need help from anybody else. We have what we need for ourselves to move forward. Imagine if we have a community center. We can help our kids. Like Henry said, he is good at math. So he can volunteer his time to come in the community center, and then he can tutor young children. We have university students, they can volunteer their time. They can come to our community and help. So we can do that ourselves. We all family here. There's a lot of South Sudanese community here. We can make it simple. I have a family of my own. Let's say, okay, one person contribute $1,000 a year, and then we can raise the fundraising, or present it to the city, and then they can be added up, and then we can build our own community. So we tend to look somewhere else, but the help is within us. All we need to do is reconcile. So to the organizer, I hope you guys did a good job, but personally, I think you guys should do better than that. I am sorry to say that this room should be full of people. It should reach out to the people, and all need to come here and reconcile. We can talk about all the things we mentioned, but if we're not come together as a community and put our resources together, we're not going to go anywhere. Thank you.